Yes. Let me fix my mic. Let me get my mic placement correct. You are in tune to Boxing Talk with Raphie. What number are we on? I stopped doing the numbers a while ago. I'm going to have to bring the numbers back. But anyway, let's talk about it. We've had Callum Smith obliterated by Arthur Beterbiev. We're going to have to talk about that. We're going to have to talk about Bud Crawford and Errol Spence. What's happening with that? Is it on? Is it off? We're talking about the rematch. We're talking about Arctic conditions over here in the UK. And of course, we're talking about where does Boots Ennis fit into this trifecta? Crawford, Spence, Ennis. Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, let's go. Right. Hello and welcome. Let me show my face. In the place. Smash that like. Get your name up in here. If you're in here. Get your name up in here. Okay. Let us commence. Hello and welcome. It is freezing. It's freezing over here. I saw this picture in the bottom right. When I woke up this morning, I thought, I wonder what part of England that is. And I drew the blinds, or opened the blinds, drew the curtain, because I got curtain and blinds. You know what I mean? The curtain keeps the draft out. Opened the curtain, drew the curtain, opened the blinds, and minus the snow. That was the scene that I saw. It was crazy, yo. It was crazy, yo. Okay, who we got in here? We got the Bruce Gas Boxing, Jazz, and more up in the building. In here. We're in here. 32 here. 32. What's the temperature over here? What's this? I've gone old school. I've gone old school. We got, what is this? What is that? 18 Celsius and 64. What is that? 64? Oh no, that's 70. That's 246. Yeah, that's 66 Fahrenheit. So it's 18 Celsius and 64 Fahrenheit. That ain't warm. Just in case you don't know, that ain't warm. It's decidedly cold, but you know what? You know what? We're here. We're here anyway. You know what I mean? It ain't frozen the internet. It's the Lethal Bizzle up in the building. Get your names in as we commence to do this thing. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? We're cold. It's cold, but we're warm. It's cold outside, but it's warm in here. You know what I mean? Not long got back. Had dinner. Then got a phone call. Unexpected phone call. It's been all go. Got back in from work and it's been all go. But let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's go. Okay. So where do we begin? I think not even gonna start at the top. Not even gonna start at the TOP. Not even gonna start with the big one from the weekend. Gonna get to that in a bit. But first and foremost, I think we really need to talk about this. Okay, let's get the mic placement right. Oh, do I show you? Yeah, I can show you a few seconds, but I got to be careful. But let me show you a few seconds of this shizzle, then we can get all the way into the audio. Are we? Boom. You see that? You see that? What's the volume like? Okay, the volume's all the way up. Give you a few seconds of this before we do it a different way. Doing it different ways. Okay. You can see that. Let's go.
Michael, why couldn't you have gotten a Stay Busy fight in your own hometown? You stood out the entire 2023. Would that have taken you out the rankings, ruined your status? Why not Stay Busy?
Well, I'm going to throw PBC straight under the bus here because, you know, they...
Boom. Okay. So, we're talking about Michael Zarafa. Recent comments about PBC. And you know why we're talking about PBC? Because there's another PBC issue. Well, this is part of the PBC issue that I maintain. Yes, indeed. This is part of the PBC issue. And it was Mr. Nescafe talking to Michael Zarafa. And Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. It wasn't good at all. It just confirmed certain things that we had suspected. This is just a confirmation. So, in an interview with the Boxing Voice, Raphie claims that PBC has kept him inactive due to a contract lock-in, waiting for the winner of Danny Garcia versus Errol Lara. Okay, so waiting for that. Okay, to make matters worse, there's still no set date for that fight. And Raphie says he hasn't received any step-aside Mo night. Okay, so obviously he stepped aside to allow these two cats to fight, but they ain't fighting. And not only are they not fighting, but he can't fight until they fight. It's in the contract. Okay, so PBC handling of the situation, question mark. Are they taking a reputational hit? Are you disappointed to see Raphie sidelined without any compensation? Share your thoughts and join the discussion. That's very well put. Very well put. Very well put. Okay. So we're going to have to talk about this. PBC filled with inactive fighters. Well, it's PBC making them inactive. John Dealey up in the building. PBC filled with inactive fighters? No, they're making them inactive. Well, anyway, let's hide this. Don't want any copyright issues, and let's listen.
Michael, why couldn't you have gotten a stay busy fight in your own hometown? You stood out the entire 2023. Would that have taken you out the rankings, ruined your status? Why not stay busy?
Well, I'm going to throw PBC straight under the bus here because, you know, they locked me in the contract. They said, you know, the Garcia Lara fight, and you're going to be on the undercard, and, you know, you can't fight anywhere else. And then, you know, that fight didn't end up happening, so I couldn't be on the card. You know, they basically said wherever Lara Garcia back then was going to happen was where I was going to be on the card, you know, and
so you just had an open-ended contract with no date, no venue?
Correct. You know, they just said we're waiting for the official date, and they just keep getting pushed from June to July to August. You know,
that's crazy, yo. That's crazy, yo. They locked him in a contract. They said you'd be on the undercard of the which undercard? Garcia Lara, and the fight didn't happen, and so he can't fight until that happens. It's in the contract. It's crazy. Shizzle is crazy.
And it was always next month. I promised you.
Tell
4 or 5 weeks.
Tell me they at least gave you step aside money.
This it gets even better. I haven't received anything.
Lord have mercy. Thank you, Al.
Lord have mercy. Thank you, Al Heyman. Shizzle is crazy, yo. Aaron Daly up in the building. Salute to Raphie and the Combat Radio Nation. Yo, it's mad. It's mad. And we simply have to talk about it. Okay. Where is it? Can have the visuals up in the background. I think we're safe to do that.
Michael, why couldn't you have gotten a stay busy?
Kill the noise though. Okay. So now, how does that tie in? Well, how's the PBC tie into this? Well, if you look at the thumbnail, which you can't at the moment, but if you look at the thumbnail, we got Bud Crawford up in there. We got Errol Spence up in there with the patch over his eye. As a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat, let's get the thumbnail up. Let's get the thumbnail up. Where is it? Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So as you see, we got the Bud Crawford up in there. Remember, he's got a contract with the PBC too. To fight the PBC fighter, apparently you have to have a contract with the PBC. Okay. So Bud Crawford, he's tied up. Remember, the rematch, supposed to have a rematch with Errol Spence. We're going to talk about that. That's a part of the thing. The fact that Bud Crawford's tied up with the PBC, they got him tied up. We're going to have to talk about that. And of course, that's why I played the clip. You know, Raphie's on it. Come on. Raphie's on it. And of course, the Boots Ennis has been making some noise, saying, "What's up, Bud? Come see me, baby." Knowing full well that Bud is tied up contractually with Errol Spence, as far as we know. Okay, so where do we begin? But first things first, we have joining us also from Middle Earth. It's the John Daly.
Good evening, Ralph.
John Daly, how do you do?
It's been a bit cold.
It's been a bit nippy.
I mean, not by what people in North America are used to, but for us, this is cold.
Some people in North America, some people are in Florida and California. They don't know about the cold.
Well, you know, New York, Detroit, Chicago, they know about that cold weather.
Yeah. The north of the north. We're talking about
the north. Far north, though, Ralph. New York's as far south as Madrid.
You are?
So, on the lines of latitude,
yeah,
New York and Madrid are on about the same line of latitude.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that don't make no sense in terms of the differential with the temperature.
Well, that's to do with weather systems, though, isn't it? So, if you're to go due west from the UK, you're going to end up in Canada.
Due west, Canada.
Yeah. So Western Europe benefits from the Gulf Stream, don't they? So we're not as cold as other areas. It's never just as straightforward as up north side.
Well, okay. So there you go. A little bit of meteorology. Meteorology. Meteorology up in here. Bright and early.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not as attractive as Shafali, Raf.
Shafali, I don't rate her. Shafali.
I'm still not as attractive.
Yeah, well, that's a fair observation.
Well, you're right or not.
That's a fair observation.
Whether you're right or not, Raf.
That's a fair observation. Shafali, she seems, I don't know, man. I don't know. I got a thing with some of these gals out there who act like they got their nose up in the air. But I mean, that's an unfair statement because I don't know her. I've never met her. She might be the loveliest lady in the world, so I can't say.
I mean, in all fairness, the main sort of credit you give her is she's aged well.
She's aged well, yeah. How old is she anyway? I don't
know, but I think she's old enough, possibly.
Jeez, Louise. I don't really watch TV. Is she on TV still?
I don't know. I don't watch TV.
I don't know. I ain't seen her in years.
But yeah, I mean, nobody else knows what we're talking about. Probably listening anyway.
Shafali. Should I put her in? No, maybe later.
I will put the caveat in there. She's not really my cup of tea.
She's not my cup of tea, but
but she is more attractive than I am.
That is a fair assessment. No arguments there, John.
Yeah, exactly.
No arguments there.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get into this. What's going on? Anybody joined? We will never know. It was all down to Smith being crap, which he was.
Oh dear.
Let's go. Joe, can he
upset? Is that actually on?
Sorry?
Is that actually done and signed, sealed, and
Is that that's a good question. I don't think it is, not to the best of my knowledge. Joe,
I mean, there's a lot of talk. There is a lot of talk about being on the IndyCar.
hold on a second. Hold on. Zing Zang, Big Zang. That
Yeah.
was supposed to be Deontay Wilder, wasn't it?
Well, the latest one I've seen is Parker versus Zhang.
Oh, I'll have to do a bit of research on that. I'll have to put that in
I've
Google.
seen people put it through as it's gone through, but I didn't see anything official when I watched the press
I'll have
conference.
to put it in Google, and I didn't watch it's signed. OMG.
I think that's an interesting fight, really.
OMG. That's all I can say about that for the time being. Tony Bellew on the selective warpath. I ain't seen nothing. Listen, I've come home from work today. It took a while to get home. It was a good day, but
I thought you were within the 20-minute walking radius, right?
Well, this is what happened. It was a good day. Well, first of all, let's go back a bit. So on last week, I went in on Monday, all good. Went in on Tuesday, not so good, because by lunchtime I had the shivers. I couldn't eat my lunch. I believe I had the flu. All of a sudden, boom. I believe I had the flu. And long story short, about 2:30, the boss said, yeah. Go home, Raph. Go home. I said, listen, I think I need to go home. And he said, yeah, you probably do. Yeah, I can see it. So what happened? I went home. That was the Tuesday, with the intention of going back in on the Wednesday. And then I thought, well, that makes no sense whatsoever. Where's the recovery time? So I didn't go in on Wednesday. You text them, let them know. I was going to go back in. I was going to go in on Thursday. And I thought, why should I go in on Thursday? Where's the recovery time? So text them, not coming in today. See you tomorrow. And then Friday morning came, and I fully intended to go. And I thought, well, this makes no sense, because I'm going back in for Friday. Then we're going to have the weekend. Why don't I not go in on Friday and have the recovery time of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, plus Saturday, Sunday, if needs be? It made more sense. So I texted them, yeah, not coming in today. See you Monday. So Monday came today, and I went in bright and fresh, bushy-tailed, bright-eyed, and had a good day. In an office. Side office. They give me a laptop, brand new laptop. That's sweet. Do your research work on that in preparation for your first training pack, which I didn't get last week. Apparently, it's a government thing. Civil service takes a while to, all your training packs to upload. Everything's online. And so basically what I've been doing every time I go in is I'm reading around the subject, I'm picking the subject, reading around. So I'm going in 8 hours a day to read stuff with no structure on a laptop in a side office. And I held it, okay, because I know I've talked to other people, and, that's just the way it goes. That's the way it is, the civil service, you know what I mean? Unlike any other job I've ever had before, which, you're target-driven, performance-driven all the time. In most cases, not every case. And so now I'm just going in, turning up, sitting in an office. The training packs aren't ready for me, so I have to pick and choose what I'm going to read. So I'm reading for 8 hours a day, and I held it. I know that's how it goes down. I've talked to other people. I know that's how it goes down, and it's going to be this way for probably a month to 2 months. It's going to be this way. It's tough camping. It's difficult without structure. I'm not used to no structure. And then at the very end of the evening, the shift, because I haven't got a locker. My locker's not working. There's only one locker left, and that's for me, and it's not working. So they're gonna have to bring somebody in to get it sorted. And so I'll give the manager the laptop back. You keep that. I don't want to take it home. You keep that. And I don't know. At the very end of the night, I just felt, this is going to be tough camping for like about 6 weeks. It's going to be tough camping, John. It's going to be tough camping. No structure.
When you, it's a mixture of making your own structure. If you're reading,
Yeah.
I suppose you can listen to music on your headphones.
I'm gonna have to start doing all of that shit.
You want to take the edge off it. Have you got? I mean, I know it's not an academic syllabus, but you must have a list of all the things that you need to read around.
No, there's no list.
Well, presumably you're reading on a topic.
Yeah, I'm reading around it. I'm picking stuff. I'm doing the structure. I'm picking stuff. I know basically around the topics that I need to look at, but there's no structure. It's very tricky.
No. But this is what I'm trying to say. If you haven't been given a structure, to make one for yourself, so that at least you can feel like you're being methodically going through it.
I'm gonna have to
and check it off on a list. Make a list of all the topics you need to read through. Cross them off, so at least you feel like you're making progress.
Yeah.
Set yourself, an objective in terms of how many topics you want to get through each day.
Yeah.
Stick the headphones in.
Yeah.
Put on some relaxing tunes, whatever you want to listen to, and just get through it.
Sounds like a plan. Let's bring in the Iron Kong, our man in the Caribbean.
I don't know. I mean, I keep hearing, you two softies going about it's cold. Yeah, it's a bit nippy around, these parts here.
You'd be shivering, mate. You'd be shivering. You'd run back inside. You'd run back inside.
Are you familiar with the Celsius?
I mean, we can do the conversions. It's 82 degrees Fahrenheit here. How much Celsius is that?
Fahrenheit doesn't work for me.
So don't worry about it.
Fahrenheit is 64 over here.
What?
64 Fahrenheit.
Well, it is 27.77 degrees Celsius here.
Yeah, so Celsius we're on -2 at the moment.
That's just a bit down, man. You milk stops.
I've been very interested to
complaining.
Which cold countries you frequent.
Whinging.
I often hear you don't ever play in the snow.
No, never. I remember 1998. I was in Canada in December, and to my fright, I saw grass turn to ice.
Ooh.
And just so happens, I was like, yeah, it's time to go, bro. I just finished high school in like August or whatever. Went up to Canada. I wasn't intending to come back, but my brother was getting married in St. Kitts back home, and let's go down for the wedding. And I was hoping to see snow for the first time.
Yeah.
I never got the chance to, but I did see ice form on driveways and grass turn to ice, and it was just awful.
Yeah.
That's just the frost, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't care what. The most we have is dew. You could go outside and you see that the grass, it looks like rainfall, but it's not rain. It's just like morning dew.
Don't worry, Kong, we have it here.
Yeah, well, back to you softies.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cold. It's a bit cold here, mate. Yeah, whatever.
You wouldn't manage. You wouldn't manage, mate. You take one look at it, run back in your Bermuda shorts.
Well,
okay.
Frozen grass that you're talking about, we've been having that today.
Yeah, it's frozen. It's frozen today. I went out and I thought, oh no, Raphie hates the ice. And I hated that with a passion. But you know what? I've changed my mindset. I said, I'm not going to slip. I've got good grip on them. I'm not going to slip. I'm going to walk confidently and it's going to be okay. And it's been working out. It's been working out these last few winters. It's been working out. But let's get into what is a dolphin shaver. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. What is a dolphin shaver?
Is that some sexual enhancement?
I think it's.
Tool?
I think it's. I think there's some innuendo there, but what is the dolphin though? What is the dolphin? And why would one be shaving the dolphin in the winter? What's going on?
No, I'm not. I don't know these Birmingham
Euphemisms.
euphemisms. I can't help.
Just to clarify, I don't believe that Wizard Sleeves is from Birmingham.
Where are you from, Wizard Sleeves? Where are you from? We don't know. Where are you from? 28 here. Well, it's about 20. It's about 26, 28 indoors. Outdoors, different matter. Mr. Coates is up in the building. Bomb squad. St. Louis in the house. St. Louis in the house. How you doing, Mr. Coach? You're one of our resident Americans. The link is there. Feel free to hit it because we need to talk about. We're talking about PBC. We're talking about your peoples. We're talking about your peoples, and we don't use them euphemisms in Brum. I don't know about the dolphin. I don't know about shave. I don't do dolphins shave. They seem like one of the smoother animals. I think they're hairless. But anyway, where you from, Wizard Sleeves? Free Dom, still none the wiser. But anyway, where you from, Wizard Sleeves? Anyway, the PBC have kept Zapida from fighting. The PBC have a habit of not having their fighters fight tied up contractually, but Zapida, however you pronounce his name, he gave us the lowdown on how it worked with him. He told us that they tied him up and he can't fight. He's waiting. He can't fight. And now we see a man like Bud Crawford. Normally, likes to get out there, run out 2 times a year, but now he's sitting out. Not through any fault of his own. Seems like he's contractually tied to Errol Spence. And now we have an active fighter in Bud Crawford in a contract with PBC, and all of a sudden he has become an inactive fighter. And it seems like the same old story again. And that's one aspect of it. And then the other aspect of it is Errol Spence. We might as well throw everything in the pot on this particular topic. Errol Spence has an operation on his eye. He has said he had to have a cataract removed. It was covering his whole eye, his whole eye. And he asked the question, why do you think I got hit with so many jabs? Because I couldn't see. I can't see. He can't see. Okay, so he can't see. So he has a cataract removed. Why didn't he have it done before the fight? And if you didn't have it done before the fight, well, why didn't you have it done after the fight? When was the fight? In June, July? Let's say June.
It was in July, right?
It was in July. Okay, so it was in July. Okay, let's say you gave it 2 months for everything to settle down before you go into surgery again to have the cataract removed. What's that? July. That's August, September. So that takes us into September. So you could have easily had the operation, if it was that needed, done in September, October, November, December. You've had 4 months last year to do that. And now, but no, you don't do that. You decide to have it done in January 2024, 6 months after the fight. How the hell does that make any sense? How the hell does that make any sense whatsoever?
I can make sense of that, right?
Well, there's a couple of things there. There's the contractual tied up thing. Fighters fighting 1 time a year. And all of a sudden, yeah, it's going in the pot as well. It's going to be a big pot. All of a sudden, now I'm hearing from certain channels from across the pond, certain channels who have for years kissed the entire ass, the whole entire ass of Al Heyman. Now all of a sudden I'm hearing from those same cats, those same kissy cats. They're saying, well, no, fighting 1 time a year, it just ain't good. It just ain't good. And I think that's a direct result of Deontay Wilder looking like trash. Not even Errol Spence. Not even Errol Spence. It was more Deontay Wilder. That was the clincher. That was the clincher that's got an entire group of men who used to kiss Al Heyman's whole entire ass on the regular, now saying that PBC are wrong for having their fighters so inactive. It was never a problem before. This has been going on for years, and it was never a problem before. But now that the two gods, two of the PBC gods, have been struck down. One of them brutally. You can see him here, bottom left of the picture, brutally. Now all of a sudden they're talking about once a year ain't enough. There's a lot there. John, lead off.
Well, so there's the proof of the pudding, which in that there is no way fighting once a year is good enough. Last year, all the sort of main PBC guys took L's. We had Charlo, which is one that you didn't mention. How long was he out of the ring before he fought Canelo?
Oh, 2 years.
Exactly. Fulton lost to an obviously Bud I actually feel like he went easy on Spence.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
I think he could have took him out sooner.
Could have been worse.
Yeah, and then obviously the last one to top it off at the end of the year was Wilder. So the inactivity is clearly a problem. It's a massive problem.
Clear.
There's no question about that. The reason behind the inactivity is because it's been apparent that PBCs they spent all their money a very long time ago.
Yeah.
So they can't finance any fights. And what that's meant is the not very good fights they've put on have given them very poor ratings, which has meant they've had an ever-shrinking number of dates and an ever-shrinking budget. No PBC fighters can fight at the moment because their deal doesn't start until March, I think. So anyone who's in a contract at the moment, PBC, you may have noticed they haven't announced any fights.
Correct.
And the reason is the Amazon deal hasn't actually kicked in. So that's why they're being so inactive currently. As for the Spence operation, the reason that he didn't do it before or after the fight is because it wasn't a problem. Because he wouldn't have passed the eye test to fight.
Literally the eye test.
Yeah. There is no way. And Bug called him out on this as well. He said, well, you pass the eye test. Every fighter has to take an eye test before a fight. So the reason he didn't have the operation before or after the fight is because if it is a problem, it's a problem created either by the damage that Bud inflicted upon him, or it's something that's happened recently, or it's not a cataract operation at all, which I wouldn't rule that one out either. But under no circumstances is it the reason that he got demolished by Bud Crawford. The reason he got demolished is twofold. And I'll put three factors in. I think he would have always lost to Bud. I think he's deteriorated due to poor lifestyle, obviously the car crash, and the inactivity.
Yeah.
As highlighted. So, yeah, that's pretty much why PBC are taking so many L's. And why they've run out of money and why they don't really have a major backer to give them TV dates. Because if you don't make the fights, you don't make the money, you don't get the ratings, and people pull the plug on you.
The Iron Kong.
What are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about why all of a sudden them cats over the US
Okay.
Talking about fighting one time a year ain't good enough. It wasn't a problem before, but it ain't good enough now. We're talking about Errol Spence cataract operation, and he says, why do you think I got hit with so many jabs?
Raphie, these people talking so because everybody food getting eat. You check? Errol Spence, after he lost the fight to the Lamborghini, comes out and people will say maybe he should take a tune-up to fight Danny Garcia. I don't need no tune-up. I'm a savage. I could fight Danny Garcia and whatever. I don't need tune-ups. Tune-ups are for people who are not sure themselves. Mind you, he lost the fight to a Lamborghini. And
just into it. Oh,
sorry. No, go ahead, John.
Danny Garcia is a tune-up fight.
Right, no problem. So after losing a one-round bout to a Lamborghini in a wall, Errol Spence was straight back in the ring after a little time to fight Danny Garcia, right? People were saying maybe his jaw's not right. And I remember people were saying his eyes don't look right either. Whatever. Oh, maybe you need to take your time. He was like, nah, I don't need to take my time. He goes to fight Terrence Crawford, gets beat up, and then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but months later, come out and talking about, why do you think I got hit with so many jabs and all this foolishness? These people fighting once a year for a long time. This is not new news. The most obvious person was Gary Russell. Yeah. A man who turned down all offers. Nothing was ever good enough for Gary Russell. You know what I'm saying? Deontay Wilder knocks out Helenius and says he wants to be active. And that's the thing what I have with Deontay. It's always I want. Goes to show you these men ain't really their own boss. Right? He comes out and now gets a fight after, the clock had already started ticking on 2 years. Because it was 1 year and 2 months since he didn't fight. And it tells me it's either PBC don't have the money to put fights on, or didn't have the money, or these guys ain't their own boss and could force nothing. Even though they talk about my own boss and I have no promoter and all this foolishness. Right? He couldn't get not even one fight. Anthony Joshua fought 3 times in 2023. He took pay cuts to fight. Right? Joseph Parker fight, and even though he might get knocked out, he still fought. He came straight back and fought. Now all of a sudden, these men they have this epiphany all of a sudden. Fighting once a year is not good. And they're talking really soft. They're not really saying, man, Al, we still ride with you. It's like, how are you riding for somebody you never met? You never heard talk. None of this. This man keeps his fighters inactive. And everybody been saying it, it's a problem for years. And all of a sudden, these guys come with this light bulb on their head all of a sudden, like, breaking news. Fighting once a year ain't good, folks. Man, these men only talking so because the PBC flagship bearers getting the food to eat off the table, and that's it.
Yes. And as we move on, we welcome in the Edge Note.
Hey, Raph, how's it going? You all right?
How you doing, matey?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yes, good to have you up in here.
Yeah, man, it's been a while. So, yeah, happy Christmas and New Year's,
Likewise.
Hope 2024 brings some good stuff for everybody,
Well, yeah, hopefully, we're getting there. But talk to me about this. What is it? A trifecta. We got
Beterbiev.
We got Bud Crawford. He's not fighting. He's got a contract with PBC. All of a sudden, he's not fighting. We got your Errol Spences. You got your Charlos. All PBC. Your Deontay Wilder's all PBC. Not fighting. Well, Wilder's left now, but. Not fighting now. They got Zapita came out in an interview with the Boxing Voice saying that he's been tied up in a contract. He signed a contract to step aside. There was no money in it. There was no step aside money, but he signed a contract to step aside to let Garcia fight Lara, and that fight didn't happen. It kept on pushing it back. It didn't happen, still hasn't happened, and he's still tied up in that contract, and he can't fight. And now Errol Spence comes out and says that, attributes the reason he lost to not being able to see the jabs because he had a cataract, which he has now had removed, but yet he's had it removed 6 months after the fight. If it was so important, wouldn't he have had it removed before the fight? Or if he was being such a gentleman, he didn't want to hold things up, even though he's held things up for years, but he didn't want to hold them up for another few months. So he took the fight anyway. Well, then wouldn't he have had the cataract removed immediately after the fight or a month or two after the fight when everything settled down? But no, he had ample amount of time last year to have the so-called troublesome cataract removed, but he doesn't. He waits until January of this year when he had a rematch scheduled to take place in December. So what the hell's going on? Inactivity, cataracts, people signing to PBC, not being able to fight, active fighters all of a sudden become inactive when they sign anything with the PBC. Talk to me.
All right. I talk to you, man. I talk to you. Like now, look. First off, talk about Beterbiev smashing Callum Smith.
We ain't even talking about that yet.
Okay.
Touched that yet.
So what? We're talking about the PBC. So basically,
yeah, man. I just outlined it for you, brother. I just outlined it for you.
Oh, okay, yeah, because you're saying Beterbiev first. That's why I'll address that. But we talk about PBC. Basically, with PBC, it comes down to money at the end of the day. PBC don't have any money. That's why these fighters are fighting like once every 16 months or once every 2 years because they don't have the money to keep on. Because you have to remember, every time, like, for example, with Errol Spence, every time you put Errol Spence on, you have to pay him X amount of money. And they don't have X amount, and they're not making money on Errol Spence. So there's only certain fighters that you can put Errol Spence in that you can put on pay-per-view and earn money, and that's what's happening. And then if you're doing with Errol Spence, same thing with the Charlos. They're not getting put on because the money that they want, PBC can't give them, and that's the reason why Deontay Wilder left PBC because they can't give him the money that he wants. And Broner, the same thing with Broner. That's why these fighters are waiting a long time for their fights to happen. The same thing happened with James DeGale and what's his name? That unification fight they had. James DeGale and what's his name? But anyways, yeah,
Eubank?
Huh?
Eubank, DeGale and Eubank?
No, it was the unification fight.
Oh,
Battle Jack.
Yeah, Battle Jack. Yeah,
Battle
same thing with that. That fight took ages. Reason why? Because they didn't have the money for that fight. So that's why they're waiting ages, and finally they got the money for that fight, and that fight was made. But that's the reason why it takes long because the PBC don't have the money, and the fight and then the fighters want more money than what they're worth. That's basically what the issue is. And for example with the Terence Crawford and Spence fight, basically Spence wanted the rematch. He activated it. But he's being told that, that fight, we don't have the money for that fight. The money that you want and Crawford want, we don't want it. The demand is not there. Crawford demolished Spence. So the fans are not interested in that fight, the rematch anymore. So Spence's like, all right, I might as well get my eyes sorted out then. And then, you know what I mean? It's like, I might as well get my eyes sorted out then if the fight ain't happening. So the fight he's always eyes sorted out. And now Crawford's like, all right, good, yeah, wish you all the best in the future. And now Crawford can go on and fight somebody else. So, and that's basically what the situation is for that fight. But then, in regards to who Crawford is going to fight next, God knows, because Jamel Charlo don't want to fight nobody. Like he's supposed to fight Tszyu. He's been ducking that guy for the longest, so he needs to fight Tszyu before he can get to Crawford. But Crawford is the bigger fight, than Tszyu. But I don't like. Do you know what I mean? But the money, he's got the Canelo money now. So he's going to be like, all right, because the problem is when boxers get a lot of money, that's what they expect now. It's very hard when you get paid 7-8 million to go back down to 1 or 2 million. Do you know what I mean? Because so it's very hard to go back down when you used to getting a certain amount of money, and that's the problem with these PBC fighters. And now with the Amazon deal that they got, the Amazon deal ain't paying the same kind of money that they were getting when they were on Showtime and Fox. Because you have to remember, when they had Showtime and Fox, they were getting the Fox money and the Showtime money. Do you know what I mean? But now they ain't got Fox or Showtime. They've got Prime, and Prime's probably paying half of what they were getting from Fox and Showtime. So, and you got a whole bunch of fighters on your roster that was used to getting paid a lot of money. So don't be surprised if you're seeing a lot more fighters leave PBC, because that's what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So my take on it, it was PBC. Yeah, I think that's the root of it. It was a PBC not being able to afford to keep their fighters active, pure and simple. And they sold them on this notion that not fighting was gonna elongate their careers, whereas actually, I mean, there's an argument to say the opposite is true. There's an argument to say that if you're fighting regularly, you're sharpening your skills more often. You become better at what you're doing. There's an argument to say that these cats who are fighting once a year, they'd be twice as good fighting twice a year. There's a very strong argument to suggest that. Twice a year is better than once a year. I say that 100%, absolutely. So these guys have been fighting a minimum, at least half as often as they should have been. At least half. And yeah, it shows. And then on top of that, that gives you enough time now for these cats to live a non-boxing lifestyle. They got too much time on their hands. They're fighting once a year, once every 18 months, in some cases once every 2 years. That's way too much time on a boxer's hands. And I think that also ties into the fact that these cats don't live the boxer's life. They don't do it because they got too much time not to. Errol Spence, he's got a bit of a drinking habit. What is it? Jamal Charlo. Looks like, the suggestions that he got into the narcotics. And then Jamel Charlo, doing some unauthorized boxing with his missus. You know what I'm saying? These guys have got too much time on their hands, and they say the devil makes work for idle hands. And I see, unfortunately, we see it manifest itself right here. We see it manifest itself right here with these PBC cats. The lifestyle, they're just not living the boxer's lifestyle. And so they cannot function to optimal levels. Look at Jamel versus Charlo. Jamel versus Canelo. He just went in there to survive. It was painfully obvious. He went in there to survive because he's not sharp. Fighting once every 2 years, he's not sharp. And it's just a shame because these guys, they had a helping hand in doing wrong. Uncle Al didn't do them right. Any promoter knows that it is his obligation to keep his top talent active. Any promoter knows this. It's imperative. Got to keep them active. And that's something that Al Heyman failed to do. And he's now reaping the rewards of his mistake. Poor business. Poor planning. Dr. Woodok up in the building. Is there any other? Okay, yeah, I gotta ask the question. I'll go start with John Daly. What's next? What's next for Errol Spence? What's next for Errol Spence, John?
I don't really know because for me, I think he should retire.
I'm losing you on the last word.
I think he should retire.
Right.
I mean, I didn't think he ever would be the same after the car crash.
You did. You were the first, one of the first to say that, to bring up that point.
He's made a lot of money. He also has the benefit of living in Texas, which is one of the cheaper areas of America to live in. As long as he doesn't drink it all away, he should be fine. I mean, what fight? I mean, there are fights out there where he could make a bit more money, but I don't really see how the PBC are going to put them together. There's no way he should rematch Crawford. It'd be absolutely. He'd just get annihilated.
That'd be terrible. That'd be bad. Have we lost John? Can't hear you, John. Can't hear you, John. Okay. We've lost John for a moment. So let's keep it moving. What's next for Errol Spence? What's next for Terence Crawford, the Iron Kong?
I'm hoping Errol Spence just moves on with his career and his life, and just, probably just mind he chicken and he horse them that he like to mind. He say he got chicken and a horse and all kind of thing on a ranch. Go mind that, because the boxing thing ain't for you. After saying he wasn't going to say, I wasn't exactly living the fighter's life. Okay. So then you could go ahead then and don't live the fighter's life and don't bother nobody. I'm hoping Terence Crawford gets out of this contract, because it seems, signing your name to Al Heyman in any way is a career death. Imagine sending your to fight one man twice. The one man is clearly incapacitated and somehow you can't get away. It's like any attempt to sign anything with Al Heyman is a career death for fighters. So I'm hoping Terence Crawford has a good lie to get out of this thing, because you can't just hold me in a contract when this drunk who now has an eye patch like Long John Silver can't fight. So yeah, I'm hoping Errol Spence goes away, go throw some corners at the chickens them. He horses some apples, and I'm hoping Terence Crawford get lawyers up and gets out of the contract and moves on with his career.
100% lawyer up, just like Zapida or Zapada should have done. I think we got John back.
And that's Zarafa.
Zarafa,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I was saying about Terence. Sorry, not Terence. Spence should just retire. I don't really see what they've got going for him. With Crawford, I think they're going to keep him at PBC because he's one of their premier fighters that they can make an actual pay-per-view on and make some money. And as far as I understand, Canelo is still under contract with the PBC as well. He's got 3 fights.
Yes.
Have they announced Canelo's next fight?
Nope.
Because, I mean, I can't say his name very well. Not Benavidez, the other one. Morea I struggle to say his name. There's another super middleweight out there.
Oh, Morel,
that's it. I think he's going to fight Morel and then fight Benavidez. But of all of their fighters that they've got that they could put on a pay-per-view that people would actually pay for, Crawford is one of them. I doubt Charlo will fight Crawford. So it'll be very interesting to see what actually happens. But I don't know if there's a time limit on the rematch, but normally there should be.
There should be.
There should be. And
we were told there was.
I would have thought that's passed.
Yeah, it is. It should have been December.
So based on that, I think the reason that Crawford hasn't got a fight is because PBC haven't got any of their fight dates sorted with Amazon until March. But I suspect that they will get Crawford out because he's one of their premier fighters that they've got there.
Edge note, what's next for Errol Spence and what's next for Bud Crawford?
What next for Errol Spence? It just depends on if he's willing to take a pay cut. That's what it comes down to. Because, like I was saying, once you're used to earning 10 million, 8 million, 7 million a fight, and all of a sudden now you're gonna have to fight, names that are not gonna draw that kind of money, and then Al Heyman's gonna have that serious talk with him and say, "Look, dude, gonna have to pay you like 2 mil, 3 mil." It's tough. It's gonna be tough for him. It's gonna be tough, and then it's whether he's gonna have that motivation as well. The motivation to go into training camp. Like you said, he wasn't living the life as a boxer. This is to fight Terence Crawford. This is like the biggest fight of his career, and he didn't have the motivation, the drive to live the life of a boxer to fight Terence Crawford. So imagine you're going to go to Errol Spence and say, "Hey, not only are you going to get paid less than they got for Crawford, but you're gonna have to fight a no name to build yourself back up to go and fight for a world championship again, possibly within the 154 division or the 147 division." He ain't gonna have that motivation. So don't be surprised if you ain't gonna see Spence fighting until 2025 or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So, people say he should retire. He's already said he doesn't want to retire, but saying it and getting the motivation to get out there with a pay cut is different. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's the same thing with what's his name, Danny Garcia. It's the same with Danny Garcia. Like, he's saying, "Oh, I want to continue fighting," but man, when the money ain't there, it's very tough to go back into the ring and do a hard training camp for a pay cut on less money. Do you know what I mean? So so what I think Crawford Spence should do, take the pay cut. If you're fighting for the fun of fighting, for the love of fighting, and not for the money, then you take the pay cut, go 154, build yourself back up, and then go and then try again at Crawford again in the future, or maybe just fight at 154 and fight the guys at 154 and take a pay cut and then build yourself back up again. But because if not, then he's gonna retire or he ain't gonna fight for a long while. Like he's gonna be like Furman. Furman hasn't officially retired yet, but when's the last time he fought?
Long.
Do you know what I mean? Furman hasn't officially retired, but he's just out here, in the streets. So it's gonna be this. Spence is gonna be the same like Furman. It's just gonna be not retiring, but just out there, just not fighting for a long time because he wants a certain amount of money.
What I'm saying is, Spence, his limitations were hung out there to dry. His limitations were hung out there to dry. They were exposed. It was just. It looked like a man against a boy in there. The gulf, the skill gulf, the gulf in skill levels. It was almost hard to watch at times. It was almost hard to watch at times. And so, you know what would make me happy? It would make me happy just for Spence to he doesn't want to go out like that. And I understand. So you know what? Let Spence have a going away fight. It never works like that. He's gonna want another fight after that. Say, I'm back. Can you see I'm back? It was a cataract. It was a cataract of my eye, but I'm back now. You saw that. You saw that for yourself. Let him have a run out again against some kind of half decent opponent, but not too good. But still, I don't think Spence has fallen all the way back. So he can still fight somebody of reasonable note, maybe get a win, and then get the hell out of Dodge because the guy is impaired, not just by Crawford, but by his accidents, by the accidents. He's more than one accident, remember. He had the big accident, then he had another accident that hurt his leg. He said, I hurt my leg. You know what I mean? He's listen, you had a detached retina. You've made enough money. Just get out of Dodge. You made enough money. There's no disgrace in you retiring. I understand you're not going to want to go out on that loss. You're not going to go out on that loss. I understand that. Okay, take a reasonable fight. Get the win. You still got it in you. And then just get out of the game, man. Get out of the game. Get out of the game. Keep your faculties. What you got left of them. People are already saying that you're slurring your words. So keep what you got left of your faculties and get the hell on up out of here. What do I want for Terrence Bud Crawford? I mean, he's already intimated that he don't think he's got too many fights left. You know what I'm saying? You don't think he's got too much things to prove. I mean, after the high of getting the guy you've been hunting down for years and put in an absolute mollywhopping on him. After doing that, there's not really not much to prove. I mean, Canelo's the big one. I hope he can get Canelo. We've talked about it here in the RDCR. That would be a hell of a fight. And then after that, if he could secure that, which I don't think Canelo wants that, but if he could secure that, then I don't know what else there'd be out there for him. I really don't.
Yeah, with Crawford, he can fight. Like, he wants to move up to one. It's still fights for Crawford. He can fight Jamal Charlo. If he beats Jamal Charlo, then he can fight Tszyu for the IBF, and then he become free weight undisputed. And then the bonus fight would be Canelo if Canelo wants it. Do you know what I mean? But after that, once he becomes undisputed, 3-time undisputed, free weight undisputed, then Crawford can retire and he'll be in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think Charlo will go anywhere near, but I think Tim Tszyu would fight him. But Charlo don't really like fighting, does he? I can't see Charlo taking anyone out after getting all that Canelo money.
But that leaves the dilemma again, then, because then you're going to have a whole lot of PBC fighters that's not going to fight nobody.
Yeah, but that's what happens all the time, isn't it? That's what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I don't really see that changing. However, I can see Bud and Tim Tszyu, that fight getting made quite easily, because they'll both fight people.
Who?
Tim Tszyu.
Tim Tszyu and who?
Bud. So that Bud can get another weight class world title. I can see that fight happen. Who actually promotes? Is he still in the PBC? Tszyu, or where is he?
Didn't he? He might be with the PBC now.
He is with the PBC because he wanted to get a crack at the 154 titles, and that's why for Tony, what's his name? The guy he knocked out, Tony
Harrison.
Yeah. I'm sure he's still under contract with the PBC, isn't he?
He might.
Yeah. So I can see them making that fight for Bud. Bud probably go to Australia as well. There's money in that fight.
There should be an announcement of fights soon, though, because I know PBC like to be organised in regards to like announcing a slate of fights with Amazon.
Aren't they still waiting for their dates? The deal kicks in March. I think that's why they haven't done anything.
Well,
yeah, I think that's what...
allegedly the PBC, the first PBC fight on Amazon is not going to be a PPV. Allegedly. So that's going to be an interesting scenario. It ain't going to be no big brand. It ain't going to be no brand names.
It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough for PBC. Like Showtime and Fox left because they wasn't making any money. PBC fights weren't making any money.
Well, how can you make money when you don't give anybody the fights they want? It's never going to work, is it?
It's not even to do with the fights that they want. It's just to do with they're not good at promoting their fighters. Like I always said this from day dot. I said this from the beginning. I said that PBC are not great. People are telling me, "Oh, Floyd Mayweather is the best promoter. He's the best promoter." I said these guys don't promote their fighters. That's why like they don't make like back in the day, the boxers used to fight like how many times a year? The more exposure the fighter gets, the more well-known the boxer gets. If the fighter only fights once every 16 months, they're not going to get the global recognition to draw the crowds to get the pay-per-views that they need for them to be making money. And that's the problem that PBC got. They don't really promote the fighters. Like when the Charlo brothers, for example, like when they fought like guys that no one never heard of. Do you know what I mean? You can't, and you're trying to expect to sell that fight to the public. The public ain't gonna buy it. And plus, the Charlos, one of them lost. It faced Tony Harrison, and then he lost. It's like, man, do you know what I mean? And then you're hyping up
the PBC. The PBC have not been putting on attractive shows. If you don't put on attractive shows, then well, hold on. I can't say they haven't put on attractive shows, but they haven't had their big names fighting often enough. If you don't have your big names fighting often enough, then you're not really you're not creating, you're not deepening the brand. You're not deepening the brand of your fighters. If they're only fighting once every 18 months, you're not deepening the brand. It's not something that you're not giving people something that they say, oh, in 6 months' time, I'm going to be able to see him fight again. Or in 5 months' time, I'm going to be able to see that guy fight again. No, it's going to be 18 months. So you're just not deepening each fighter's brand. And so
Well,
that
Raphie,
yeah.
we also know that don't play well with others.
Mm.
Yeah. They've blocked countless big fights.
Yeah.
You know, we're probably never going to see AJ versus Wilder now.
Yeah, they blocked it. They
blocked the hell out of that.
Yeah.
They delayed the Spence Crawford fight. And so they're giving us this other stuff when there's huge demand for the PBC fighters to be in different fights.
Mm.
And they wouldn't let them happen.
They wouldn't let them happen because they wanted all those fights on the PBC, under the PBC banner, A, and B, they were worried in certain instances that their fighter was going to lose, so they didn't want it to happen.
But then they ended up putting on fights nobody wanted to see.
Yeah,
the brand suffered. The viewing figures went down. The people putting the fights on pulled out, and that's why they're in this mess now, because they blocked all of these fights.
The people putting on the fights on went out of business.
Because I mean, look at people like Bob and look at Eddie and stuff like that, right? All of their big fighters lose. AJ's lost 3 times.
Yeah.
We've just had a press conference today where it might even be his biggest purse. If you keep your fighters out there, you keep them fighting, people know who they are. I mean, that's a good point that Edge Note made. But also, if you're going to block the fights that people want, your fighters will never be really household names because they never took that chance.
Yeah.
People have forgotten when AJ took on Klitschko, a lot of people thought Klitschko was going to win. It was a risk, but they took it. And when has a PBC fighter ever taken a risk like that?
Errol Spence.
But they'd already got Crawford on their books, haven't they?
Yeah.
That was a joint pay-per-view in the States. It was on HBO and Showtime because Dad was a HBO fighter and AJ was a Showtime fighter at the time.
So that's it. You got to get the guys out there. You got to get them fighting, and PBC have failed to do that, and now they're in a mess. Now they can't support the fighters that they have. It's just a mess, and they're playing a waiting game, and they're wasting fighters' careers.
And also, as well, did you hear what Adrian Broner said about his money situation as well?
Yeah,
he was saying like this. Adrian Broner was talking a lot of nonsense. Like he was saying he was getting paid this, and then he came out in an interview and said that he hasn't received his purses for the fights that he's been making under PBC. So he hasn't received his purses. So basically, he every time he needs some money, he just asks Al, and he'll write a check to him. So he hasn't never received his purses. Which is I just found completely mind blown when I heard that. I was like, that you can't be serious. Do you know what I mean?
The only thing that is with Broner, he's another car wreck, isn't he, in his personal life? So I take what he says with a pinch of salt. He's the only one to come out and say that.
Yeah, but he's
actually done it. So is it that Broner's telling the truth, or is he lying?
Personally, I think he's telling the truth because no one ain't coming out and suing him because at the end of the day, no one ain't coming out.
I wouldn't rule it out, actually.
No one ain't coming out and suing him. And if you look at the history of all the other fighters, all are messy as well. Like flipping, like Errol Spence nearly died. Do you know what I mean? Like, he admitted himself he ain't living a life as a boxer. You already heard about both Charlos. Do you know what I mean? Like, flipping Furman, like with his gambling addiction, it was gambling and drinking a couple of days before the Pacquiao fight. Like, do you know what I mean? All of them are all the same. Like, all of them are all the same. The only one, ironically, the only one, probably technically, maybe is Javonta. But I think that's probably because under Floyd. Maybe.
I'm not too sure about that. That boy gets very fat in between fights.
Yeah.
Really fat.
Yeah.
Puts on a bit of chunk.
Overeating is another form of not living the boxer's life. When do you ever see Bud Crawford fat? Like, for Bud Crawford to make weight, he probably doesn't have to drop a lot. And he's always in the gym. I've never seen him blow up between fights. People have bad habits, and food is one of them.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So let us move on. We've chopped out nicely. Let us move on. I think Lion Kong's dropped out. Big boys dropped, boxing dropped out, but we're still here. We're still rocking and rolling. So what are we saying? Let's talk about Arthur Beterbiev and Callum Smith. Yeah, I watched the fight. It was a hell of a fight. As some of you may know, I predicted that Callum Smith might pull the upset. I thought that having watched Beterbiev, having watched him against Anthony Yard, I thought I saw some slippage. But I tell you what, there was no slippage. There was no slight slippage in there in Quebec on Saturday night. Certainly not from Arthur Beterbiev. He looked as sharp as a tack. His precision, as they say, was precise. He was sharp. He was precise. Highly impressive, and he dismantled. He dismantled Callum Smith. He was actually looked like he was playing in there. He looked like he was playing with him in there at times. As a matter of fact, rat-a-tat-tat, I'd have to say that Anthony Yard did better than Callum Smith, which surprised me. I thought Callum Smith could just double up on the jab and then come around the side and get some hooks into the body, but he wasn't fast enough. He didn't have the snap. One of his punch, Beterbiev could have punched him twice in the time that it took Callum Smith to throw one punch. Beterbiev was just that much faster, that much slicker. He just outthought him, outspeeded him. He just put on one hell of a performance. And now I had been one saying that I had Bivol as the favorite in a fight with Beterbiev, but not now. What I saw from Beterbiev, it don't look like he slipped at all. I was highly impressed with his shot selection, his ring generalship, and his speed. I say speed kills. You're just so much faster than Callum Smith that night, Saturday night. And like I say, I had Bivol the favorite going into an undisputed fight with Arthur Beterbiev, but not anymore. Not anymore. I got Arthur Beterbiev coming out as victor in that fight too. John D. Lee.
Well, regarding Beterbiev and Bivol, I've always been on the Beterbiev side.
You faded off at the end.
I was always on the Beterbiev side of that fight anyway.
Right.
I actually predicted Beterbiev to beat Vosdik, which I was very few people thought that he would.
Mm-hmm.
They thought Vosdik would be too long for him.
Right.
But because he's a come forward pressure fighter, people think he hasn't got any skill. But actually, Arthur's got a lot of skill.
You got a lot of skill.
It's because he fights in the pocket. People think he's a brawler. His power, but he's a highly skilled pressure fighter.
Very much so.
And some of the greatest fighters of all time have been highly skilled pressure fighters, like Hands of Stone, as an example. I'm surprised you picked Callum Smith, Raphie, because I would have thought Callum Smith has got all the ingredients to create an angry Raphie every time he fights.
Well, I didn't say I prefer him. I just thought he might be able to do it. I was wrong.
I was always skeptical because I've never seen such a tall fighter give up his height so easily.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought would annoy you whenever you watch him fight. The man's got a 78-inch reach.
It's crazy.
Like heavyweight.
It's like an albatross.
And he wants to throw lead hooks all the time, and his jab is sloppy as hell.
Yeah.
There's no stiffness in that jab whatsoever.
Well, my argument is that I've seen him against Bud. I'd seen him under Bud McGirt, and he was looking a lot better, looking like a killer, but not on Saturday.
I think against a lot of the people in the light heavyweight division, he could still go out and beat them because he has got good power. He has got a good chin. I know he got stopped for the first time, but he has got a good chin.
Yeah.
But Arthur's not. I think he'll beat Bivol quite easily.
Well,
the reason that I think he'll beat Bivol quite easily is because Bivol hasn't got a very good reach for a light heavyweight. So how's he going to stop Arthur collapsing and closing the distance, getting in the pocket? And when Arthur's in the pocket, what's he going to do? I think he'll put up. It won't look like that fight. I think he'll put up a better fight than Callum, but I think Arthur will stop Bivol, to be honest. I don't think Bivol's going to throw anything authoritative enough to keep Arthur off him. And Arthur closes the distance really, really well. So whilst Bivol maintains distance well, Arthur closes distance well. And Arthur might have a reach advantage over Bivol. And if Bivol, I'm not sure Bivol's got a foot speed advantage. I know everybody thinks Bivol's got amazing footwork because he's so good on the back foot.
Yeah.
Arthur's really, really good on the front foot. So I think that everybody's a bit, because they all said this with the Vosdik fight. That Vosdik has got the reach, he's got the foot speed, he'll fight him on the back foot and get a points victory. And Arthur got inside him and did a number on him.
Yeah, he did do a number on him. He did.
And he's got a lot more reach than Bivol. So that's why I think it's but yeah, as far as I know, Beterbiev hasn't actually signed his half, only Bivol has.
Yeah, Beterbiev hasn't signed his half yet. It's just early days. Just early days that the fight is being contemplated. The WBC, Mr. Mauricio Suleiman, had ruled that fight out as a possibility. No Russian, as in Bivol, even though arguably Beterbiev is more Russian than Bivol, but no Russian can fight for the WBC title. That was the mantra. But then His Excellency Al Turkey stepped in, and things done changed. Things done changed, Edge Note. Things done changed. When Al Turkey stepped in, all of a sudden, it's let's get it on. What are we waiting for? Come on, gentlemen. What are we waiting for? Let us hold hands in the spirit of the WBC. Let us join hands and let us put asunder our differences, and through the WBC, let us take charge and show the world, show Israel, show Palestine that they can be one. Let us forge forward with this, hand in hand with His Excellency Al Turkey, Edge Note.
Yeah, man. Look, first off, yeah, with the Better Beef and Callum Smith fight, yeah, like it was hard for me to judge that fight because that fight was all about Arthur Beterbiev was punching a punching bag because he was just Callum Smith offered nothing in that fight. He offered absolutely nothing. It's hard to judge that fight because he made Beterbiev, a 39-year-old, look like $1 million in there. His jab was terrible. His footwork was terrible. His defense was terrible. He was getting caught with. He's the taller guy, like what you said. Yeah, you like what you said. The guy's a taller guy. He's got the longer reach. He was fighting like a short guy. Do you know what I mean? He's not an elite boxer. I never thought he was an elite boxer. He beat George Groves, finished George Groves. Since then, every single elite fighter he's fought, he's been bust up. He got beat up by Canelo, and he got bust up by Beterbiev, a 39-year-old old guy. Like, do you know what I mean? He's just, look, Beterbiev is a good fighter, yes, but like, I was expecting a little bit of a challenge, like at least a good any part of his fight was good. Throw a good jab, throw a good uppercut, do something good. He didn't do nothing good in that fight. So he's domestic level at best and fight Anthony Yard. And I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Yard beats him as well. I would not be surprised if that
B2,
happens.
B2,
Yeah, I would not be surprised because
B2,
his
B2,
fundamentals. He's
B2,
maybe because
B2,
maybe because he's been out the ring for so
B2,
long. Yeah,
B2.
B2. What's B2?
You said B2. I said B2. You wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Yard beats him,
B2.
Callum Smith.
Oh,
'Cause that's the fight. That's the fight that they're looking to do next in Saudi Arabia.
I'd
But
like that fight.
yeah, but in regards,
Who says they're looking to do it next?
Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, they're talking
Yeah.
about the press conference.
Yo,
You
I would
missed
love
out
that.
on the press conference. Right.
But they're talking about the
I haven't seen
5v5 and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
that could be like that label on track. But in regards to Beterbiev and
I'm
Bivol,
gonna have to hold on a second. I'm gonna have to watch the press conference after this show because we should
yeah, it's fine, it's fine.
We're wrapping this up in a few minutes. But I think I'm gonna go live again tomorrow because there's lots of stuff. There's still stuff that we haven't talked about in this show. And one of the things is the press conference. So I think we're going live again tomorrow because we need to cover the press conference. So I'm not going to cover the press conference in this show because I need to watch it after this show so I can talk about it in the next show, which will be tomorrow.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. But
As you
Bivol
were saying, yeah.
yeah. So Bivol and Beterbiev, yeah, I'll go the other way. I think that Bivol will beat Beterbiev,
Okay.
based on both performances. Watching Bivol and watching Beterbiev, I think that Bivol will beat him.
How?
He's got much better fundamentals. He's got a much better jab. He's got much better footwork. He's an overall much better fighter all around and skillful fighter than Callum Smith. And I think that a better fighter on the night facing Beterbiev will beat Beterbiev. Beterbiev is a good fighter, but he's very slow. One thing I noticed that he was very slow in that fight.
Twice as fast as Callum, though.
Huh?
He's twice as fast as Callum.
Exactly. Exactly. That just shows how bad Callum Smith was. He was like, that's why I said he was terrible that night. Like Beterbiev was very slow. He was walking slow. He closed him down very quick because Callum Smith just went to the ropes and then he was throwing jabs like Beterbiev was telegraphing his punches so you could see it coming. And even though you could see the punches coming, Callum Smith still wasn't able to block the punches. He threw triple the amount of jabs that Callum Smith did. Triple the amount of jabs. Like a 39-year-old should not be able to do that on you. You know what I mean?
I'm going over to John Dealey. Is Beterbiev a PED cheat?
I'm not going to rule it out, but ultimately, what was found in his bloodstream is found in every man's bloodstream and every woman's bloodstream. The levels were higher than a range that's considered normal, but they were lower than a range that would mean that you would fail a test. So he hasn't had a substance that, like Gerald Miller, EPO, can only get in the system by being injected in there and all the other crazy shit he puts in there. What's been found is stuff that should be in your bloodstream. It was slightly higher than normal, but not high enough for you to fail a test. So, whilst it's a bit suspicious, and I'm not going to rule out that he's a drug cheat, he can't be condemned on the back of that. Being a drug cheat.
Of an atypical test.
It wasn't. Yeah, it's just, and he was tested afterwards, and everything was normal.
It was clear.
The thing that's more suspicious, and I have this same suspicion of Wilder actually, is fighters that are injured a lot, and it takes them out of circulation of everything when they're injured. Is that masking something? The thing that I find particularly suspicious with Wilder is whenever he puts muscle on, it disappears. And it usually disappears in a fight where he's going to be definitely tested. I don't think Wilder can weigh over 225 pounds without the aid of something. I'm very suspicious of that because of the way that it burns off, particularly at his age, at 38. You know, he went into that fight after a huge amount of activity. What was he, 212 or 208 pounds? After going up to 232 against Fury.
I think he's in the 212 pounds. I don't think he's ever been sub 212.
I think he was 2'8" against Luis Ortiz in one of their fights. You'll see that he does this quite consistently. It goes up and then it drastically comes down and then it'll go up again. But I've been tracking it for quite a long time. Obviously, Wilder's never actually failed a test, but it's always aroused suspicion, and I'm always very suspicious of anybody that puts muscle on and then it evaporates. I find that very suspicious, particularly once you're into your sort of middle 30s.
Very strange.
But as for Arthur, because that's who we're talking about, I'm of the minority that don't think there's as much ped use as everybody else thinks, but maybe I'm the naive one. I also not as convinced a lot of these peds give you the overwhelming advantage that everybody else thinks they give you, particularly in the performance-driven capacity.
Well, it doesn't matter how much it gives or it doesn't. If one man's taking it, if one man's taking it and the next man's not, then that's a problem.
That's where I differ. You see, I'm not always confident that the person taking it is going to get all the benefits all the people think they are.
Well, he's getting an advantage. He's getting a physiological advantage.
Okay, so I'll give you an example. Dwayne Chambers couldn't complete the race at the Manchester Commonwealth Games because the drugs he was on made him cramp up so much he couldn't perform. Yeah,
well, that's because of poor application. He didn't do it right.
Well, potentially, Raphie. I mean, I'm sure you don't want to spend ages on this.
Well, we're not going to spend ages on it.
All I'm going to say is the substance found in Arthur's bloodstream are supposed to be there, and it was slightly higher than expected. So whilst it is suspicious, he can't be condemned.
Okay. And edge note. Is Beterbiev a drug cheat?
Yeah, like same what John was saying, you know. He hasn't officially failed a drugs test. In that, and also I've done a video on this as well, like on my channel. If people want to watch it. But I said, look,
Edno's got his own channel, folks. Feel free to pop over and have a look.
yeah,
Carry on.
The thing is, like PEDs had nothing to do with him being able to throw his jab and connect to Callum Smith's face all those times. Do you know what I mean? Like, PEDs
Did
didn't
it not?
affect.
Did it not? Did it not? I
No,
mean, if you're able to train more often with less soreness and to regenerate quicker, then surely you throw more jabs.
you can throw more
And
jabs,
if you're
but
throwing more jabs, then surely you're potentially throwing a biomechanically more sound jab.
yeah, you know what? Yeah, you can.
Technically more sound because you got more repetition. We've been talking about repetition. We've been preach repetition. And if
Yes, but
those PEDs give you that repetition, the ability to get more repetition in, then how would it not enhance his jab? Is what I would say.
yeah, and I would say to that is that like the PEDs would make the individual better. Yeah, so we all agree it enhances. That's what PEDs is for. So let's say that he did take PEDs and he trained 100 times a day and his jab was the best in the business, right? So he goes into the ring and he throws the jab. Now, as the other person on the other side who is not taking PEDs, you don't have to take PEDs to defend. PEDs is not going to make you better at defending punches. It makes you stronger at throwing punches, right? So if you can't defend a simple jab, yeah, which you don't need PEDs to do, to throw a simple jab and to block punches. If he was able to block the punches, and then after a while, after all the punches were starting to get through, fair enough. It makes, it's understandable. But if from the beginning he's throwing a basic jab and a basic hook and he's getting through easily, then that's nothing to do with PEDs. That's to do with you being poor at being poor at your defense. And Beterbiev's PD usage had nothing to do with how Callum Smith couldn't throw a proper jab and couldn't throw a proper hook.
Okay. And with that controversial note, we have come to the end of the show. Raphie got work in the morning, and Raphie needs to unwind, but we had to bring this to you. But I think we got another one in us tomorrow. Edge Note, your final words, please. Thank you. Edge Note's got his own channel. Feel free to check him out. Your final words, Edge Note.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Raph. Great show. Looking forward to hearing what you got to say tomorrow about the press conference.
Come on back.
And thanks, John, for good convos, good talk, good conversation as always. And thanks for people in the chat. Good comments, good content.
Hey, thank you very much, Edge Note. Come on back tomorrow. And that was the Edge Note. Thank you very much. And John D. Lee, thanks for jumping on. Your final words, please.
Thanks for having me, Raph. There's a lot going on in boxing. It's good.
Hell of a lot.
I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow. Those are my final words, Raph.
Come on down. So that was the John D. Lee. This has been the RDC on the Boxing Talk with Raphie. Raphie got work in the morning. I want to catch some of this press conference before I go to sleep. Probably let it play as I'm going to sleep. We're on a time crunch now, folks. We're on a time crunch. Okay, so my summary, where's the thing? My summary is Beterbiev, is he or is he not? Hey, listen, is innocent until proven guilty. innocent until proven guilty. But what I will say is that he's one hell of a fighter. He's one hell of a fighter. I thought the shoe might be slipping, but nah. He looked hella impressive. Hella impressive. All right. Next on the thumbnail, we have Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford is tied in with some PBC contract. We need to get to the bottom of that. If he wants to stay in there, if there's something there for him, fine. But if not, then he needs to just get the hell out of there. Mind you, if Tazoo is at PBC as well and he's looking at going the 154 route, then maybe he'll stick around. Maybe he'll stick around. What should Bud Crawford do? And then we go bottom left of the thumbnail and we see a man with a patch on his eye. Was the patch on the other eye the other time, the first time? I don't know. The second, I don't know, man. It looks like just Errol Spence just getting busted up out of the ring in car crashes and busted up in the ring. With Bud Crawford being the car that just plowed into him. OMG. And Boots Ennis. Damn, we forgot to talk about Boots Ennis. Well, Boots Ennis is talking like he wants to fight Bud, but he knows Bud is tied into a contract with Errol Spence. And if he wanted to fight Bud, why didn't he fight Bud before? Why didn't he make himself available before when Bud was waiting for Errol Spence? Why didn't he make himself available before? What's going on? Now he's talking when he knows that Bud is already locked in, tied in, whatever you want to call it. So I think, is that what the Americans call cap? Is that cap? Is that what it is? Big up the John, the Edge Note, the Raphie, the Iron Kong, who joined us earlier on. But listen, I gotta be snappy. Gotta get my nightcap in. And I gotta turn in. Watch a little bit of that press conference. Okay, folks, I hope you had your belly full. We're gonna come back tomorrow. We're gonna come back tomorrow because there's more things we need to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. There's lots and lots and lots. And I want to start earlier tomorrow. If I'd have started earlier today, we could have got more in. But hey, tomorrow is another day. And you have been in tune to Boxing Talk with Raphie on the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, YouTube. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And all that's left for me to say is, blessed.